For today, I would like to talk about the movie Wicked. And to be honest with you, I never had Wicked review on my bingo card for 2024, but here we are. And the reason I went to watch it is because my beautiful wife loves musicals and she wanted to go, so I decided to go with her. And I'm glad I did. And I went in cold because I didn't know nothing about this movie. Didn't watch the trailer. I heard a little bit of a ruffle on the internet of something to do with a fan made a poster that was symbol to the Broadway show, and the actress had an issue with it, and that's all I heard. I didn't think that much about it, so it didn't affect me going in. But I decided to go. And while I was there, I saw that, of course, Gladiator 2 was playing. I didn't get to watch it, but they was selling a cool popcorn helmet. And I was like, I have to have that. I'll try to set it up in the background for you to see. If not, you might see it later in videos. But anywho, so we decided to go. And like I said, I've really never been a, dare I say, let's see here, a musical fan. But I'm married to one that absolutely loves musicals. So I can go into any type of movie and try to find any kind of silver lining to anything. And all the movies that she has watched, I've enjoyed, and I can see why she enjoys them. And I'll explain a little later on of that review of this movie. But before I do, give you the gist of the story. If you don't know, this story is set in the Wizard of Oz universe. But it's a different perspective of Wizard of Oz. This is the perspective of the Wicked Witch of the West. That before she becomes the witch, she is called Elphaba, and she's born into that world, as you know, green. And she kind of gets shunned by a lot of people in that particular area because everybody else is not green. They're a different color, but they're not green. She grows up kind of being an outcast in that area. Now, most people kind of roll their eyes and like, oh no, here's a woke movie. And honestly, it was not, in my humble opinion. Anybody can watch this at that particular moment and feel for her, because we all have been the moments that we don't feel accepted because of race, gender, or status in the community, or whatever. And you really kind of go along with her on this journey, and you see the things, you can see the pain, and you can see the frustration she goes through, and she goes through this throughout the journey. And you can see her slowly maybe turning into the witch. But not yet. But she's slowly, you seeing the kind of that foreshadowing of that throughout the movie. But I'm not going to give you the what happens bit by bit. But I'm just going to go ahead. That's the gist of the movie. And I did not know that going in. I didn't watch a trailer or anything. Like I said, I had to get my wife kind of give me a little bit of a hint of what to expect. And she's 100% correct. Now, there's one little thing, too. There's a little bit of a political leaning to it. Not Democrat or Republican or like that. But you can tell what they're talking about with the propaganda. I'll just say that. And I won't go into any details of that if you decide to watch it. But that is built in, but not so much that it'll hit you upside the head with the baseball bat. It's not that bad, but if you follow, you understand what they're trying to say and what they're trying to do. And that's what I'll lead up to my review of Wicked. Now, I know it's kind of weird, but this is how I grade movies, just so I can express to a friend how I grade a movie. Is this a sit-down restaurant experience? Is this a drive-through experience? Or a convenience store hot dog? Well, honestly, this is a very, very nice sit-down restaurant. And when I say it that way, is most movies, is because I walked away from the situation thinking that was a really good entertainment. That was a good moment. That was a really good meal. That was a really good film. That was a really good moment. And all the acting was top-notch. The cinematography was top-notch. Everybody came to work on that movie. Everybody came to work. And the main character that played the witch, she was phenomenal. her name is, I think it's Cynthia Erivo. I hope I'm not butchering it. She was actually in a movie a couple years back that I absolutely love, and it was called Bad Times at the El Royal. It was the moment I really started noticing her. She was freaking amazing in that movie. If you have not watched it, I highly recommend it. From that moment, I remember, okay, this girl, hopefully I actually thought, I hope she has a great success in Hollywood, and she landed this role. I was like, I did not know it till I started watching The Wicked, and I'm like, oh, that's the lady in that movie. And I'm telling you, she was freaking amazing in this movie. If she does not get nominated in an Emmy or an Oscar or even win nothing, she's got robbed. And I hope Hollywood gives her an Oscar, because she totally deserves it. You know, some people, when they get Oscars, you're like, I don't know if they deserve it, but it was okay. She deserves this. And again, you already know my review is a sit-down restaurant. I think this movie probably will win, I would think, a good chance of winning Oscar Best Picture. I think it's got a good chance, if nothing else comes along, but I think it's going to be the top dog to win. In closing of my review of this movie, what I liked about it is you feel for the character, Elba. You really, you follow her and you can relate to her, like I said earlier, you can relate, and that's what I like in movies. And my buzzwords that I always talk about on this channel is the story sells. And that's 100% what this movie does. The story sells. And everything else just magnifies the story. The great acting, and musicals, you know how they can be sometimes. But it did not feel like a CW kind of film. It didn't have, some ones I've watched and stuff, and even some movies are very low tier. They didn't have a lot of budget. They just feel like a CW kind of film. This one don't. I think they had a goal, what they wanted to do, and I think they nailed it. But I'm not an expert on musicals, so don't come after me too much in the comments. But I thoroughly enjoyed this. And if you are partially a fan of musicals, I recommend it to you. If you do not like musicals at all, I think you should probably pass on this. But for myself, if you're open-minded and don't like musicals, I'll recommend it. But anywho, I went on a little bit longer on this review, but I just wanted to give you my authentic opinion, straight out of the theater reaction to and review of this movie. But I guess I'm done for the day, and I guess I'll talk to y'all next time. Thank you for listening.